The B-21 Raider's biggest secret. The world's getting crazier and more unpredictable. The Russian Bear and the Chinese Dragon have teamed up to challenge the American Eagle for world domination. The stakes are higher than ever. It's literally either or. Either the West will continue to dominate the planet, or the dictates of the East will take place. And just like in the good old days, the strongest will decide on the battlefield. The West and the East are hastily preparing for the decisive battle, creating more and more perfect weapons. And it's already inevitably approaching. We can already see the flames of its fires and the rumble of explosions, the war in Ukraine, the Gaza Strip, the attacks of the Houthis in the Red Sea. In anticipation of this battle, the United States has created a weapon that could have a significant impact on its outcome. Meet the B-21 Raider Strategic Stealth Bomber. Today, we'll tell you about the features and capabilities of this machine, as well as its most important secret. Watch the video to the end. It's going to be interesting. The enormous danger that Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea pose to the West is no exaggeration. All these countries are hastily developing and arming more and more weapons and arming their satellites with them. It's come to the point that the ruling Shiite Ansar Allah movement in northern Yemen, i.e. the Houthis, who are backed by Iran, have tested a hypersonic missile of high defeat capability and are preparing to introduce such missiles into their military arsenal. The missile forces have successfully tested a missile that can reach speeds of up to Mach 8 and is powered by solid fuel. Yemen intends to start manufacturing it for use in attacks in the Red Sea, Arabian Sea, and Gulf of Aden, as well as against targets in Israel, a Houthi spokesman said. Where does this movement, whose fighters fight in slippers, get the latest technology? From Iran, of course. And where did Iran get it? Putin. So the situation for the U.S. and her allies is very serious indeed, and the new strategic stealth bomber comes in very handy. The main news around this machine is related to the fact that the U.S. Air Force is the second stealth machine in the fleet of strategic aviation. The first B-2 Spirit aircraft appears to be living out its last years as a low-observable carrier of nuclear and non-nuclear weapons, and will soon be decommissioned and sent to a museum. Development of the aircraft began in 2015. Initially, it was planned that Raider would replace two types of machines at once, the low-observable B-2 Spirit and a relic of the Cold War, the B-52 Stratofortress bomber. However, in the process of developing the concept, it became clear that the creators of Raider and the U.S. military see the technology of application of such a machine differently. Northrop Grumman insisted that the experience of using the B-2 for its intended purpose allows them to argue that the scheme of the flying wing should be improved, the speed of flight should be increased, and the time for the use of weapons should be reduced. The Pentagon held a different opinion. They were convinced that the program, 10-10, that is 10,000 pounds of bombs at a range of 10,000 miles, should be executed at any cost. In translation to the metric system, 4.5 tons for 16,000 miles. By the way, with the B-2, this requirement of the military was fulfilled. The machine can carry 4.5 tons of bombs at 16,000 kilometers. But the flight speed of stealth was extremely low, only 630 kilometers per hour. With a full load of 18 tons, the range is 11,000 kilometers. When in the late 1970s of the last century, the fashion for stealthy aircraft reached a peak in 1980, Northrop Grumman managed to win the competition to create a stealthy bomber and subsequently sell the production of not 10 machines as the military initially discussed, but twice as many. In the end, including the prototype, 21 aircraft were built, each costing $2.1 billion. And the B-2 Spirit became the most expensive airplane in history. However, the first combat use of the B-2 did not go as originally conceived in 1999. During the NATO attack on Yugoslavia, the machine served as the second echelon of the strike and struck with high-precision bombs JDAM, despite the fact that the low-profile strike vehicle was designed as a means of the first echelon to break through enemy air defenses. This decision was obviously influenced by the fact that the Yugoslavs managed to down another Lockheed F-117 Nighthawk stealth bomber on March 27, 1999. True, the GO is often referred to as an attack aircraft as well. Therefore, much more expensive and larger aircraft decided not to risk. The situation with the new B-21 is similar. Despite the rapid development of air-launched cruise missiles, the machine is called a unique armament for deactivation of enemy air defense, although everyone understands that no one will send the plane to suppress the air defense system alone. But about the unique armament, here everything is absolutely true. Many experts rightfully call the B-21 Raider a sixth-generation machine. There's every reason for this. The airplane, with relatively the same dimensions as the B-2, has 20% lower effective scattering area. Its predecessor had an effective scattering area of 0.0014 to 0.1 square meters, making it a difficult target for air defense systems 25 years ago. Behind these figures is a tremendous amount of work on the design of the B-21, with the similarity of aerodynamic schemes with the B-2, and this is a flying wing, significantly reduced the area of aerodynamic surfaces, reduced the nozzles of the air intakes of engines, and improved shielding of the jet with about 30% less glazing and hump of the cabin, which indicates an increase in the level of automation. Most critical tasks were almost certainly given to the computer and fly-by-wire system, which facilitates piloting, and the compartments for weapons are now shifted to the stern. At the same time, the wingspan, judging by the prototype shown on December 2, 2022, has become significantly reduced. Now it's much less than 50 meters or 165 feet, as was the stealth of the previous generation B-2 Spirit. At the same time, the bomb load apparently will be reduced, if not halved, then to about 11 to 13 tons, compared to 18 tons of Spirit. But in any case, achieving stealth will not be easy. Air defense systems, primarily Russian, have moved a long way forward, and now the tracking of targets is engaged in several radars in different ranges. For example, in the meter range in which any stealth becomes visible, the B-21 was the first to utilize cloud-based technologies. Northrop Grumman and the U.S. Air Force successfully demonstrated the migration of the aircraft's ground systems data to a cloud environment. This demonstration involved the development, deployment, and testing of B-21 data, including a digital twin of the B-21 that'll support operations and maintenance of its twin in the metal. A unique feature of the aircraft is that it's the first bomber with a network-centric control system, as befits a sixth-generation fighter. The aircraft can operate in a joint all-domain command and control information network and has advanced artificial intelligence. To meet the changing threat environment, the B-21 was designed from the outset to be rapidly upgradable. Unlike previous generation aircraft, the B-21 will not be subject to block upgrades. New technologies, capabilities, and weapons will be seamlessly introduced through flexible software upgrades and built-in hardware flexibility. This ensures that the B-21 Raider will be able to meet the growing threat for decades to come. And most surprisingly, despite so many innovations, sometimes even drastic compared to the B-2 Spirit, the new aircraft will cost the American taxpayer significantly less, in the neighborhood of $700 million. This cheapness, as well as the fact that for the upcoming fight with Russia and China, which together outnumber the U.S. and other NATO countries in terms of population, and therefore the enemy must be defeated by much more advanced weapons, prompted the Pentagon to develop plans to order from Northrop Grumman at least 149 bombers invisible B-21 Raider to replace the fleet of B-1 and B-2. It may seem strange to our viewers to order such a large number of these planes, even if it costs not $2 billion but $700 million, but 149 bombers will cost $104 billion. Why spend so much money, since there's no guarantee that it'll be invisible to the radars of the Russians and therefore the Chinese? And here we come to the most important secret of the B-21 Raider, announced at the beginning of the video. Let's assume that a meter-range radar will see a radar mark in the sky. And then what? Will it be possible to identify the type of aircraft from this data? It'll be possible to understand what's in the air only very indirectly by the flight characteristics of the target, altitude, airspeed, and their changes. However, this is not enough. It could be a B-21 Raider or a Global Hawk, a decoy, or a specially targeted UAV slave just designed to provoke an attack. Targeting an anti-aircraft missile with a meter-range locator will not work either. The accuracy is insufficient. Of course, the Russians with their S-400 and S-500 will eventually see the B-21 with the locators they need to hit the target, but at what range? First of all, the whole point of stealth technology is not to make an airplane invisible, but to reduce its detection range so that it can leak between air defense positions. having previously detected the radiation of their radars with its sensors, or come closer in order to launch anti-radar missiles. That is, stealth allows the attacker to be the first to see the enemy's radar emission, determine its location, and be the first to strike. Did the Russians or the Chinese send their fighters to meet them? Okay, they close in on the target and discover that it's not a B-21 Raider, but a UAV slave UAV that only lured them into a trap for the enemy fighters. And if it's still a B-21 Raider and Russian or Chinese planes launched air-to-air missiles, then here's the second most important factor of stealth. Low-power active radar homing heads of such missiles can simply not capture a stealthy aircraft and pass by. Plus, let's not forget about onboard electronics warfare systems, which will also be on the airplane. For example, according to open sources, the B-52 bomber's REBs are capable of protecting it from attacking fighters even at long ranges, most likely meaning that the bomber's REBs interfere with the fighter's radar stations, which provide guidance for BB missiles when fired from a long distance, and with the guidance heads of the air-to-air missiles themselves. It can be assumed that the B-21 Raider will be equipped with the best REB equipment available to the U.S. Armed Forces. In addition, the B-21 Raider is unlikely to be allowed to be just a punching bag. It'll probably be armed with short, medium, and long-range air-to-air missiles. So the B-21 Raider, in which, in my opinion, American designers have managed to find the golden mean between cost and combat characteristics, will be a very big headache for any enemy. Of course, we'd like to spend $100 billion for more creative purposes, but let's not forget the popular wisdom: who does not want to feed his own army will have to feed someone else's. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. Please also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon.